everybody, welcome to the new year. I hope you all had a good New Year's Eve celebration, if you celebrate that sort of thing. We don't actually really celebrate. I think it's kind of a myth that everybody goes out and does stuff on New Year's Eve. I think it's a small percent. I think most people just kind of stay in and go, oh, well, tomorrow's another day. I watched a little bit of the Twilight Zone marathon, and then we watch all the New Year's Eve shows, you know, on TV, and that was about it. I liked it. Capital Cities was on. I watched Capital Cities, and I really liked Capital Cities. They had an actual trumpet player. I thought it was just the two guys, a duo, but apparently, I guess when they do a live show, maybe they bring in the whole band, so that was kind of cool. I want to show you this really cool box I got in the mail from Hershel Foote out in Kansas, and this is, look at the top of this. It's got that, I don't know, fancy kind of dovetail. I think there's a certain jigs or something you can do that make those, can you see that all right? Those types of designs. I thought that was really cool. So thanks, Hershel. I want to mention something about Keek because I haven't posted anything on Keek in ages. It's been a couple of months. I was getting a little bit frustrated with the 36-second limit on it. Jay Bates was suggesting that I just post them on my YouTube channel because you can do direct uploads on there. And so I did one earlier this week just as a kind of a try it out, shot it with my phone and uploaded it directly as a project preview on Thursday, and so I don't know if you saw that on my website. It's still short, maybe a minute or so, but I sort of like that format. Anyway, so that's what's been going on with Keek. I don't know if I'm gonna post anything more over there. I think I just kind of got tired of it. So I think I'll just start shooting more updates on my Mere Minutes channel, this channel, and posting them directly to my website. I had a few people asking me about my shop cabinet, not just that it was painted green. It was people always like to know why I paint things the colors I do. Actually, the reason why I paint these colors is just because that's what paint we have left over from other projects. That green is actually one of the walls in our living room, and so we still had a whole bunch of that left over, so I used that. But you know, I like the bright colors in here. A couple of people asked me why I didn't make this channel just cut 2 grooves in the wood itself, and I did think about doing that, but this is different than, say, by credenza, where the doors don't overlap each other. One door just goes and butts up against the other one, so I can get by with a single track, which I just cut right in the wood. For this kind of track, I hope you can see that, this is pretty thin in there, and I was just afraid that if I cut 2 dados that would probably just be flimsy and break off, especially if it's in plywood. I could probably do it in maple, but even then it might, you know, because that would be pretty hard. So that's why I used the plastic runners, and these are pretty inexpensive, and it seems to be working out really well. It's halftime right now in the Cincinnati-San Diego game. 2 California teams playing today, so that's kind of exciting. San Francisco, that's the big game playing this afternoon. San Francisco will be playing out in Green Bay, and it should be freezing cold out there, I'll bet. And it's nice out here today. I bet you we're in the 60s probably. It's real sunny. We haven't had any rain though this year. I'm a little bit worried that we might get into a drought situation. I don't know. I think we've had 1 rainstorm this year, and that was back in like October, maybe, something like that. Still trying to figure out more projects to do this month. I'd like to do more storage and kind of organizational stuff this month. I mean, that's what most people tend to want to do in January, I think, is organize their lives. That's what I'm trying to do with my shop. I haven't really figured out what I want to do with all my space yet, so I'm just going to take it slow. I don't want to just rush and start putting up things if I don't really have a purpose for it. So what are you working on? You have any big projects planned for this year? I don't really plan much beyond a week or so. If you have anything you'd like to see on Woodworking for Mere Mortals this year, let me know, and maybe I'll do it. You know, I'm always looking for good suggestions. Another question about the cabinet a few people were asking is whether that 1 French cleat is enough to hold the weight of the cabinet, and I think it is. It's pretty strong. I was kind of holding myself on it, and I think as long as your French cleat goes into the studs, you're fine. And I used a lag bolt that, you know, probably had that much that went into the stud. And also, as an added support, I didn't show it in the video, but I had some of those little angle brackets, you know, like these things. These were off of a shelf that I did have there that I took down to make this. I put 2 of them under the bottom shelf just to not really necessarily give it more support from falling down, but to keep it from swinging out, which I don't think was going to be a problem. But anyways, we'll just see. If it starts to get loose or anything, I don't think the whole thing's going to crash out at once. It would slowly start to loosen. So people were asking me about my jointer that I had in that spot, and I took my jointer apart. It's been a long time ago, maybe 6-7 months ago, and I thought it never really worked that well, and so I thought I would take it apart and just try to refurbish it. It ended up just staying apart. I just never had the time to get to it. But then after I was not using it, I hadn't used it all this time, I thought, well then, maybe I don't really need that jointer. If I haven't used it, I haven't missed it. So I gave it away. A guy on Craigslist, I put an ad for free, and a guy came and got it, and he said he's gonna try to work with it. So that's great. I hope somebody can get some use out of it. I'm not sure if I wanna get a new jointer for now. I don't really think I need one. At least for the work that I do, I don't do a lot of super fine, high tolerance work, so I think I'll just do without. I did a lot of nailing in this last video using these 2 nail guns. I have used them before, but I haven't used them to the extent that I did in that video. This is the one I've always had, and I don't even think it's a real brand. It's blue. It doesn't have a logo or anything on it, so I'm not sure what it is, but it works well. And it takes these nails, I guess. They're is it 16 gauge? Something like that. It's those kind of things. But these have heads on them. But I used this. This came from, a viewer sent me this a while back, and I just recently got pins for it. This is a pin nailer, and this thing takes 18 gauge pins, which are these little bitty things, and they look almost like needles, and you shoot them right in and it leaves no hole on the top. So I use these to fit this inside of this track, and it just fits down in there really nicely. So I'm gonna start using that a little bit more often, I think. I like projects that I could glue up and then just put them together with the tacks. The purpose of the tacks is just to hold the wood together while the glue dries. I think it's just an alternative to clamping, and it saves a lot of time, especially if you don't have tons and tons of clamps. And my compressor I've had for many years. I actually got the compressor at Target, which is just a discount store, and I got it a long time ago. It came as a package it came with this actually, and it also is just, it doesn't really have a brand. I'm not sure what it is, but it works fine. And as always, thank you for watching, and thank you for watching Woodworking for Mere Mortals. I'm really looking forward to this year. I think it's gonna be a good one, very productive, and I'm approaching it with a lot of energy. And so I'm hoping that one of the things I wanna do is I wanna keep posting to the website, which is just a blog. I wanna keep posting to that much more frequently, because the last few months I've kind of been slacking off and maybe posting once or twice a week, and I'd like to keep it a little bit more regular, so I'll see if I can keep that up. Everything always looks rosy in January. And with that, I'll leave you, and I'll see you next week.